And once again, we have another state now requiring you to hold a license in order to wholesale real estate. And this is honestly the trend that's going to happen to all cities, all states around America, requiring people to hold a license to do assignments. And I think for beginners, it may add another layer of difficulty to their process and to their journey, because now they have to think about getting a license in order to wholesale real estate. But at the same time, it weeds out all the bad wholesalers who are just trying to get a quick cash grab and are not actually taking this business as serious. So there are pros and cons to requiring a license in order to wholesale real estate, but we're going to be talking about Virginia. I'm going to share my screen with you all, share the bill, talk about just the details around it and when it actually is requiring people in Virginia to get their license, because there is a specific date. And also we're going to look at different forums and what other real estate investors are talking about this bill. So if you all have any questions, please be sure to subscribe down below. Comment down your questions or your concerns about licensing laws. What are your opinion? And be sure to like this video. All right, so there's two different laws that I've seen on Virginia's legislation and on their official website. So you have HB 917, real estate broker, and then real estate broker SB 358. All right. And it says the definition of a real estate broker. As to the definition of real estate broker, any individual or business entity who sells or offers to sell, buys or offers to buy, negotiates or otherwise deals in real estate contracts, including, here it is, y'all, assignable contracts on 2 or more occasions in a 12-month period for compensation or valuable consideration. The bill contains technical amendments and is identical to HB 917 that we have right here. So essentially, that's the law. It's talking about how in order to do assignable contracts, if you're going to do wholesale 2 or more times a year, you have to get a license. And so, yes, you can maybe wholesale one deal and you can make 150 grand, but most likely that's not going to happen. Most people are trying to be consistent with it. And so most people who are in wholesale real estate will have to get a license. And then they go more into detail about, the bill that passed and things of that nature, the amendments and whatnot. And everything was signed, and it seems like this is really coming into fruition. And let's click on here to read a little bit more about it. As real estate broker, there's a lot of technical things, but yeah, within a given year, things of that nature. And this actually goes into effect. Here's the date, you all, July of this year. So July 2024, you will have to get a license in order to wholesale real estate. Let me see if they have the date. I thought they would have the exact date in this bill. I guess they don't. But I read online that it's actually in July. So if you're planning to wholesale real estate in Virginia, I believe this even applies to people who are virtually wholesaling also, right? And they have all the different steps here. What happened, but that's the summary of the whole bill. Full context, the amendments, Senate amendment engrossed. So yeah, I'm just looking through it to see if there's any other valuable information that I think you all will benefit from. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it. Now I want to go, you saw me look into Bigger Pockets. And so there's a whole forum. And if you all are interested, if you want to hear people's opinion, if you want to get more details, read this Bigger Pocket. Just look up Bigger Pockets, Virginia Wholesale Real Estate Law, and this should pop up. But here, someone is asking like, is this really true? Like, is it true? Yes. Law is going to affect July 1st in Virginia. People want to wholesale, they will need to get a license and follow all regulations in place for licensee. For instance, they will need to disclose their fees up front as an example. So that's another part of the bill that you can definitely look more into, right? You can look deeper into the weeds and understand like what you have to do. And of course you have to show that you're actually giving a good deal to the client, to the homeowner, that you're not trying to rip them off and things of that nature. So let's go more. And of course, you're going to have real estate agents chime in and give their 2 cents, because some real estate agents do see us as competitors, but some are, you know, perfectly fine but they do want more regulation. Like someone said, so it weeds out hopefully it weeds out 90% of wholesalers who are just trying to peddle. This other person said, this realtor again said, you know, literally we get the same property from 15 different wholesalers, and with each subsequent email increasing the price from 10K from the previous email. And that's daisy chain. Like a lot of wholesalers would daisy chain properties, and that's not good. That's not a good look for the industry. Get a deal, and these other wholesalers will just send it out. Like you said, they add 20K to it. So that's another thing. And you have these people complain. I personally know the seller. Had this wholesaler send me a deal on a property not that long ago. I personally know the seller. Of 10 tenants in the property, 8 were not paying. Wow. Wholesaler advertised it as all tenants are paying and on time. Called them out. They insisted it was true. I said, cool. Let me check with Joe. He's a friend of mine, to confirm, because he told me just 8 months ago. You know, and things of that nature. So, and another person said, you know, bar isn't set much higher for a majority of real estate agents. And I think that's a great point to talk about, because people can easily get their real estate agent license. And so, yes, there needs to be more regulation. But at the same time, being an agent is not as hard to get a license for that. And I think even being a wholesaler, I don't think it's going to be that hard to get a license. If it's just as easy as that, I think it may even be easier getting a license may be easier getting a license to be a wholesaler than being an agent. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll just see what happens. Stand up, get licensed, and put in the work. Another person mentioned another state that could possibly get a new law. Colorado is about to do this. They're looking at sub-2 and fractional lending, Gator. So expect more of this. So across the board, essentially, if you're going to do anything about real estate, you're going to have to get your license. I see that happening in the next couple of years. Whether you're sub-2ing, you're seller financing, you're buying, investing, it's going to require a lot. Now, I think if people are just buying a rental, a simple single family rental property, it may not. You know, they're not going to require that. And of course, Illinois, I did talk about Illinois passing that law. I talked about Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia requiring it, but not the state that it's in. Pennsylvania does not require you to hold a license. So you can technically wholesale in Pennsylvania without a license, but not in the city of Philadelphia. So that's another thing. We'll have a black line. They're required to do what is in legislation. And of course, you're going to have people who are going to do it. This guy seems like he's really, he's on this thread a lot, and he's a real estate agent. And maybe, I don't know his relationship. Does he work with wholesalers? He had bad experience. Seems like he had a lot of bad experiences, because he's really talking about it on this forum. But yeah, I think this is something that people do that has a bad rep, and it seems like most people here are complaining about it. I know many wholesalers who are licensed agents, and the only thing they have to do is disclose that they are a real estate agent in the contract, and they are not representing the seller in the transaction, but nothing else. It will be interesting to see if they will require additional disclosures or not, because that's what you have to do as an agent. Because some of these states that pass laws, it's not as, even though it's super easy to become a real estate agent and get your license, there's way more disclosure that are required from an agent side as opposed to on a wholesaler side. So this is a great point by Hector, just stating that, will they require all of these other disclosures on top of that? All right, you all, hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on this law. What are you wholesaling, virtually wholesaling in the state? Are you going to back out? Or what would you do differently if it happened in your state or the state that you're virtually wholesaling? Would you just get your license, or would you try to work around it, or just hire an agent to like kind of be in your company so you can use their licensing? How would you go about it? All right, make sure you all like this video, comment down below, and I'll talk to you all later.